Hey everyone, welcome to the Couch Cat Gaming Podcast, a podcast where we mostly talk about PC gaming and indie games. I am your host Ryan, one of three writers from Couch Cat Gaming, and I know I just said we mostly talk about PC gaming and indie games, but today I have a special episode for you. It's about Final Fantasy 15 on the PS4, and yes, I know it's on the PC, but I'm a sucker for GameStop buy one get one deals, and this is the result of that. So anyway, yes, I'm here. I'm writing solo. Alan and Brandon, the other two writers for Couch Cat Gaming, are not here. So I'm filling in. And I just beat this game. And when I say just beat, I mean I kind of beat this game. And what I mean by kind of beat, I mean I made it to the very last chapter of the game. All right. There's 14 or 15 chapters. I was on chapter 14. And I just stopped. Like I wanted to beat it. I wanted to go to the end. But cruising on YouTube, I found a Japanese subbed video because I do play with Japanese subtitles. I found that on YouTube with the hidden scene, and I couldn't stop. I just had to watch it. So yeah, that's what I mean by kind of beat it. Like I played all the way to the end, but then I watched a 30-minute video on YouTube to get me to the finish line, so to speak. But before I go any further, I just want to say spoiler alert. Just in case I talk about anything that's too much in detail for those who haven't played it yet, because yeah, this game has been out for a while now, years. But there's people like me who just beat it today. And I don't know when this episode will be released. It's going into the bank or the vault, so to speak. But today, August 9th, like I just beat Final Fantasy 15. But yeah, this is a spoiler alert. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, so I kind of beat it. Watched a very beautiful video on YouTube. And even though I didn't manually fight those boss fights, and let's just be honest, most of those boss fights at the end were smash a button at a correct time. Final Fantasy 15 is full of that stuff. I don't hate on that. It's whatever. If you want it to be a cinematic scene, be a cinematic scene. I'll play along, right? So I didn't really miss much in terms of combat. And man, the cutscenes in this game, like just like in any Final Fantasy game, really makes it. Like it really melds the moment together. And I felt, man, I felt during that video, and I kind of feel like I beat it, right? So, but let's talk about the beginning. So I'm just gonna start off. Most of my experience with Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy Tactics on the Game Boy Advance, and even Lions on. I played that on the iPad. Like they came out with the iPad version, right? So mainly a Final Fantasy Tactics guy. Didn't really play any of the heavy hitters, the originals, Final Fantasy 7, etc. Versus what have you. So my exposure was limited. And when I started seeing the main characters of the Final Fantasy universe was when I played Kingdom Hearts, back in back in the day when Kingdom Hearts 1 came out and Kingdom Hearts 2, and forget about the DS games. I mean, it's a laundry list, right? And now Kingdom Hearts 3, which had no Final Fantasy characters in it until recent DLC, right? So that's my exposure. So I was really excited to finally get my hands on Final Fantasy 15. Aside from seeing it as just a meme game where everyone was saying it was a boy band, right? A boy band with weapons. But yeah, so I got my hands on it with like I said, a GameStop deal, buy one get one deal, or actually it was like buy two get two like used games, and I walked out there with 4 PS4 games that I wouldn't get otherwise. And honestly, my PS4 is entertainment. I use it for Crunchyroll, Netflix, etc. I rarely play games on it, and this kind of like forces my hand to play it, to actually use it for its intended purpose. What does that mean? It means every time I play a game with that controller, I just don't know what I'm doing because the controller is just so awful, in my opinion. And I have to constantly relearn the games I'm playing. But yeah, so I was excited to play it. I love JRPGs. I love the Tales series, things of that nature. And I wanted to play a game where I actually had a party again because I've been playing a lot of creepy solo games on PS4 like Days Gone. And I'm just like, where are my buds? Because I hate creeping out in the dark. I hate when a horde rolls up behind me and it's just like literally up to me. It gets tiring, so exhausting. But I'm a sucker for party-based games. Uh, I'm a sucker for managing my party and the interactions with the protagonists, etc. When they're in the game, and JRPGs do that well. Look at Dragon Quest, games similar. So I was excited to get this game for like $10. And yeah, at the beginning it was a breath of fresh air. It was nothing like the demo I played, even more years ago, where the demo was like a dream, right? Before like they released the anime and things of that nature. Excuse me. So the world was beautiful. The graphics were pretty cool. Being a PC gamer, I'm not a snob or anything. I know what a good game can look like versus on my old PS4. Like it's not even the slim, So, but yeah, it looks stunning. It looks stunning, and the characters were cool. I mean, I got to see Sid, and I mean, I only know Sid from Kingdom Hearts, right? But I know he's a prominent character, um, and it was cool to see him in in another universe or adjacent universe, so to speak. But yeah, I liked the characters. I didn't really understand what was going on with the story at first, but yeah, it was cool. Like going on an adventure, going with my guardians, whatever. I was down with it. And then the combat, I was down with that too, especially unlocking wait mode and going the traditional route where I mean, yeah, I love the action RPG hack and slashing, but I love the tactical side too with the pause or the not necessarily turn based, but yeah, I love the combat, the weapons, the skills. Magic was okay. I'm not really a magic guy or a magic player, user, whatever. Um, but yeah, I dug the combat, the world, the story, what I could understand of so far. The car, the car mechanic was a little weird. I was like, oh, seriously? Like I'm just blowing all my cash just to fast travel because, I mean, yeah, the conversations in the cars were cool, but that died after like the first hour or 2 hours. That was a crazy mechanic, and especially when you didn't have a waypoint like unlocked, and you had to sit for like 6 minutes and like just get up and go until your car arrived to the location. Yeah, that was crazy. But overall, first impressions, it was pretty cool, and I was glad to play another JRPG. It's been a while, and then come around mid game, you're doing hunts. Um, I'm not really power leveling. I'm not really trying to min max or anything. Um, Unfortunately, like I find myself more often than not like blazing through story modes, like ignoring side quests and whatnot. And I actually, I talked about Days Gone earlier. Like I did that in Days Gone. I didn't play a single side quest. I think. Uh, and then Horizon Zero Dawn was the other PS4 game I got, and I did not touch a single side quest in that either. But I actually started doing them here in Final Fantasy. Started doing the hunts, starting the random question marks on the map. I was running through it. I think near the end I only spent like maybe 40-ish hours or more in the game, maybe 50, but I was actually exploring the world, so to speak, and come mid game with the dungeons and things like that, the challenges. Yeah, the game was coming together, and I dug it. And then you kind of hit like a wall where you're like level 38 and or not even that, like maybe even like 34, 35, and like the hunts are locked behind like a huge level gap, or some of the side quests are like, yeah, come back when you're like 46 or 48, and it's like, whoa. um, but then you can leave the continent, or that map area, to continue the story, and you won't come back until there's like a time travel feature. Or you talk to Umbra, and you can go back a certain time period and power level, and resort back to your current time. But I didn't even use that mechanic. I didn't even I didn't even use that. So I know I'm committing crimes here, but yeah, like I hit a wall, and I was like, well, if the game's allowing me to progress at, not the most optimal level for these dungeons or boss fights, then I'm gonna keep going. And yeah, I had to turn the game on easy mode, about halfway through, just because of that. Like, I did it to myself, all right, but it's still, the game itself still allowed me to progress, like to move forward. It didn't really punish me for, like a traditional JRPG where some games expect you to grind, and most people are like, I don't want to grind outside of a MMO these days, right? But yeah, those games, they're built around grinding. They're built around power leveling, preparing for the end. But yeah, it didn't stop me. I left. I left the continent. It's like, oh, you can return at a later date. I thought I would. I didn't think I was going to actually, once you leave, I didn't think I was, heading towards the end of the game, outside of the Umbra mechanic of returning to a past time. So that was a little surprising on my end. I didn't I didn't expect that I would just, oh, okay, I'm leaving. I'm leaving the cool luscious landscape in half desert, whatever. But I'm leaving my friends and stuff behind. I didn't take the seriousness of my actions, even though you're warned constantly near the end, like, hey, if you continue this way, hey, if you continue this way, you're not gonna. It's gonna be some time before you're back. But yeah, mid game, it was coming together, and unfortunately, I do this with my PS4 games. I like to play on the couch. It's like my couch gaming session, and I like to play, you know, with my girlfriend watching me because she likes to watch console games because it's just easier. You're on the couch, right? Like I just said it. And we have a big TV, and it's fun for both of us. Even though she's not really, she's not actually playing, but she likes, following along, etc., while doing her own thing. So with that in mind, like sometimes weeks, days to weeks would pass before I even pick up the game again after like a 2-day session, right? So this this like 40 or 50 hours felt way longer, like felt months, because of the time elapsing in between my gaming sessions. And that's just me, that's my experience. But some moments as if it was a drag to get back into it. But after warming up after a couple hours, I'd start to realize and remember where I was. But even mid to late game, I still didn't really understand. I wasn't really doing my due diligence with the story, staying up on it. I was more interested in like the character development of Noctis, the protagonist, and then his guardians or his brothers, Gladio, Prompto, and Ignis. So I was more interested in the party itself than restoring the throne, like with the rightful king, etc. After the protagonist's father is killed. So yeah. But anyway, uh, things were going good, and then your guardian Ignis takes one in the eye, and he's pretty much blind. And so that was like a little shock because it changes the dynamics in the party, and it changes what weapons he can use at first, and then he walks slow. He's got an actual cane. So that kind of hit. That was a pretty big moment in the game. I remember, like, oh wow, like things are changing, and things are having permanent effects on my party. And then even further beyond that, like you're on a train. It's very pivotal in the story. You're on the train traveling, and you have this big fight, and another one of your brothers, Prompto, is taken. So you lose a party member for a while, And I'm like, wow, damn. Like, I thought we were untouchable, you know? I thought this was, I thought we were going to be best friends forever and nothing bad was going to happen to us. Just, my bride to be is killed, etc. Whatever. Like, some weird shit's going on, but I didn't expect my party to be affected. And oops, oops. So that was a huge shift. And then moving towards the end to save Prompto, and God, they force. Well, they don't force, but like it takes the game takes a whole like atmospheric shift where you're stealth. You're sneaking around. There's like these weird, like soldiers. And you're getting like a Resident, kind of close, but you're getting like a Resident Evil vibe where you're just like you're going down the same hallway over and over again. Like they're just reusing the hallways. And you're going the same hallways. There's these creepy robotic soldiers that are like malfunctioning, and they're laying on the ground, and if you don't like jump over them, they'll grab your leg, and there's like jump tactics or jump scares, excuse me, jump scares and stuff. And I'm like, what am I playing? Like this isn't the party JRPG game anymore. This is I'm solo dolo, and there's creepy crawlies everywhere, and you're chasing like a shadow of your friends, like a hallucination or like an image, a doppelganger. Yeah, it was weird. And then there's like save points in this part of the game where you can switch between what you're experiencing or what the protagonist is experiencing to Gladio and Ignis, what they're going through. And honestly, I didn't even do that. That's like, who knows how much time out of the game I evaded. But every time I would save, it was like, hey, do you want to switch to Ignis and Gladio, see what they're experiencing? And I was like, no, I don't want to. Like, I was like, I'm Noctis, I'm alone. I'm just gonna stick with this. And plus, I didn't want to muddle. I didn't want to like lengthen my game time, which is like weird to say about a game you like, but I didn't want to like lengthen it, and I didn't want to just see another viewpoint. I know it's dumb, but that's just me. I didn't want to do it. So what felt like ages, man, like hours of just same hallway, turn this on, here's a puzzle, do this. Like that's where it really like killed me. And I was like, wow, this sucks. And the game doesn't suck, but that part does. And then eventually, like you're finally reunited. And you have a big fight. And then what does it do? It slams you with this boss fight. One of the okay, so it's your bride to be's brother, who's like part of the Empire, and he's like not on your side, but he's not really your enemy. You don't cross swords with him, but he gets killed. Like you find his body while you're searching for your friend, and he's got your father's sword. So you take your father's sword, but yeah, he's dead. But then the main enemy, Argon, sorry, but he he's got control of demons, and he does something to him. So like you're all reunited, and this guy just cracked my skull open like 7 times before I realized like I really need to pay attention to what damage my weapons are doing and what tactics I'm using. And at first I was like letting my teammates die. I was like, screw it. Like I'm wasting too many potions on these guys. But no, like keeping my distance you can warp, right? You can warp on objects and it'll heal you. Kind of like if you go into sneak, it'll heal you. So I was constantly attacking and then warping away and healing because oh my god, you would always get slammed if you weren't quick enough. It was a good boss fight. I will say I don't really enjoy the dungeon fights, but this was a good boss fight. I liked it. And my teammates were dropping like flies. Like it was like me and Gladius were the only ones who just didn't get wiped over and over again. But it was a juggle, like burning potions every 2 seconds, warping away, striking when you could, and especially doing like when you attack from behind, you get an advantage and you get like combos with your teammates. Another cool thing about party systems those cool party, Gucci combos. So yeah, it was a lot of that, and of course a YouTube video to show me like what I was doing wrong in the beginning, because I was getting destroyed. But yeah, it was a really good boss fight, and after that, you split up again. You get jumped by a bunch of daemons, and you split up again, and you're like, oh great. And you know, long story short, uh, things happen pretty quickly, and suddenly you're gone. Like it's you and Argan, the main guy, and he like convinces you to go into this crystal to like protect the light from the darkness, and some weird shit happens, and you're waking up 10 years later on the continent you left. And I was like, whoa, like, I watch anime. I'm used to like some random time skip happening, but 10 years. I'm no longer, little teenage Noctis who's all pouty, and I'm this dude with like barely any facial hair waking up in like a lighthouse, or actually, yeah, like some lighthouse. And yeah, 10 years. I was like, whoa, taken aback. And everything's dark. The world's fallen into darkness. Demons, whatever. They're everywhere. This, cute little dog is there waiting for you, who is your brides to be, like guardian, or just pet. I don't know. And so, yeah, the world's different. It's a way darker game. Like, it was progressively getting darker. Like, yeah, your bride to be died, but like that was kind of like her mission. Like that was the prophecy or whatever. So that like that was supposed to happen. Like it's kind of sucky, but you only, like, as the player, you only see her in flashbacks, really, before like you're actually there present time, like trying to meet up with her after your empire has toppled. So it was kind of like, it was sucky, but like you didn't really, like, I didn't feel anything. I was like, oh man, that's a bummer. Summer bummer, but uh yeah, now, and then Ignis gets blinded, and like you're confronted by your teammates, like, do you not care? Like there's moments where there's conversations. Gladio, he really calls out Noctis, and he's just like, hey, he will be changed forever because of you, and you don't even bat an eye at it. Like there's some really good dialogue, but things were progressively getting worse, and the dynamics are changing, and then Prompto is taken, and there's just a sort of depression that overtakes the group when one of you, not only is one of you like going to be probably injured forever, but because at the time you don't know if it heals or not, his eyesight, Ignis, but Prompto's taken, and it's like the party dynamics are off because he's like comedic relief. But yeah, like this point, like the world's just not the same. You kind of find out demons have taken over, and it's just it's a hostile world now. So you make your way, you get picked up. There's a important character that picks you up who was just a kid, who he aided your party. He was friends of the family, whatever. So he's all grown up, and you learn how many years you've been out of the fight, sleeping or just gone. And you kind of get like a snapshot. Like it's one of those scenes where you're in the car again. Well, it's a truck, but you're there for the ride again, and you're learning all the crap that everyone's gone through, and you're learning that, okay, they're still alive. Ignis never got his eyesight back, but you're gonna see everyone again. You're gonna see him at the Hammerhead, which is the main garage where you start off at, and most of your missions started from in the beginning, and that's where Sid is, and Cindy, his granddaughter, niece, something. Cindy's there, pivotal character for Prompto, at least, or anyone really who likes taking pictures of cleavage, right? Weirdos, but yeah. So you finally meet up, and it was cool. It's finally nice to see everyone again. Like as the player, it wasn't that long. It was a cutscene and some change, but yeah, things really dark overtone. Like you're talking like everyone's like they know the end's coming, and your group's the one to change it, and that they've been holding the line, biding time for Noctis, the protagonist, to come back so they can finally end what's happened. So yeah, this game was like lighthearted as heck to I'm at a funeral. Um, so so by end game things were really coming together, and uh, I'm at this point I'm like, what? Like, what happened? Why did it happen? What was that crystal? Like, why did I go in that? Why did I listen to that dude, Argan? Like, why did I listen to him? He's been an asshole the whole game. But yeah. So I just pretty much from there, I left, and it says, once you leave, that's the end. Make sure you have your items, whatever. I left, and I went to like your old kingdom. That's where you go. There's like a level 70 something monster fighting imperial troops, and you're not supposed to fight it. At least I don't think you are. I mean, you can, but I'm level 40, like 42 guys. So I go to fight it and it wipes me. Like, I just get nailed, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to run past that guy or that beast. And after that, I took like 4 days. Like, I played Final Fantasy 15. So I'm a shift worker, and I was on a swing shift, which is, I work afternoon to early evening. So I had a lot of time during the day, and I was blitzing through it. I was like, oh, I'm getting back in my rhythm. I'm playing the game. I'm enjoying it. It's getting really dark. It's no longer PG-13. And, after that wipe, I was like, okay, I'll go back and, we'll finish this game. Like, I'm on the final chapter. Like, I'm not that far. And, a couple days pass, and I just lost it. I lost the drive, so to speak. And I actually talk about this at length in my personal blog, the-house-cat.com. So thehousecat.com, but dashes in between each word. It's a couch chat weekly roundup. And I actually talk about it, like, just the time passing, and I'm so close that I could either walk away from the game or, find out kind of like you're reading a book and you're like, okay, I kind of like it, but I don't feel bad if I spoil the end for myself, or I just go to the last page or last chapter, or, go to like goodreads.com and see what people say. But yeah, that's where I was. And like I said, I found the YouTube video, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, every game has, someone who does that, who spoils the end for people who just either don't play the game, want to know the ending, et cetera, whatever. So I did that. I fell sucker to it. I was like, okay, this is not the way I want to beat it, but it's sure comfortable. Like, it makes it easy on my end, because like I said, like, I avoided a lot of extra stuff in the game. Like, I was playing side quests, but near the end I was like doing whatever I could to not, like I said, extend the gameplay. Not because I didn't like it, it's just, my interest was fading, so to speak. So yeah, I watched a YouTube video, and I was like, wow, I'm glad I didn't have to fight those boss fights, because yeah, most of them were like, smash this button, smash this button. It's all about timing, right? But man, some of those cutscenes, like especially the dialogue during the boss fights with Argan, and like, learning what he has been feeling, because that guy's a psycho, right? That's all, you can only see him as a psycho, but learning what his motives were. And then, man, there's this like campfire scene near the end, and Hornoxus just tells everyone, he's like, tears, and he's just like, I don't know what to say or how to put it, but he's like, you guys are great, like really hammering that friendship home, or that brotherhood. There's some really good cutscenes in the end, and then obviously they show your bride to be, like Luna, actually having like a wedding, so to speak, but it's just them sitting in the throne together, and the father speaking over it, and like you can pick what photo is shown at the end, and the content creator who made the video like trolled us, and he picked Cindy's cleavage, which I thought was hilarious, because you got the dead king, the dead princess, or I mean queen, excuse me, the dead princess, God, again, queen, and here it is, the player picked Cindy's cleavage to show, and they look at the photo together and smile, and like as if they're reflecting on a good moment. So you'd think, a really good group photo would fit here, and it's just Cindy's cleavage, and I'm like, great, Sid's granddaughter or niece, whatever. Sorry, I'm so sorry, but yeah. So that was a pretty troll moment, but it was a sweet ending. It really was sweet, and I was like, wow. Would I have felt any differently if I beat it manually myself? I don't know. I don't think so. Um, is it like the cheap way out? I don't think so either. I'm sure it happens to other people. Like you just get to a point where the game was good or bad, but you just don't have enough steam left in you to, continue it, to end it. Whether there's time constraints, life changing, or you're just like me and it's just like, I'm ready for the next game, which in my case is Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, another game that's been out for a couple years and I haven't touched it yet, but um, I was ready for the next, I was enticed by the next best thing. So overall, I didn't beat it manually, but I enjoyed the ending. And then after that, I had to watch an explanation video, just because I really didn't understand the story. I didn't really know what Argon, who he was or what he was, and why things happened the way they did, and why he was leading Noctis to, be the next king or to get the power he needed to fight him, Argon, that is. So, yeah, I had to watch an explanation video because I was like, whoa, what? How deep was this game I was playing? Which obviously isn't unheard of in a Final Fantasy title if you're no stranger to it. And if you are a stranger to it, be prepared to watch videos on, explaining it. I mean, think back when Kingdom Hearts 3 was released, and like some of the most popular YouTube videos that were trending in gaming were explanations of Kingdom Hearts that you need to know before Kingdom Hearts 3. And they're like 30 plus minute long videos because they encompass the DS games and 3DS games. So you're just like, whoa, like what am I getting into before I even play the newest game, right? So just be mindful of that because I am still confused a little bit, but it felt good. It felt good to finally, have a conclusion to this game. Are there some regrets? Not really, but I do know there's secrets I didn't experience, or maybe some type of DLC or whatever. But I know there's some secrets I didn't experience. I mean, when I returned after the 10-year leap, I didn't even like see Cindy or Sid. Like you learn they're like doing well, but I didn't even see their characters. I didn't even try to find their NPCs. I didn't know how they were doing. I didn't know how that mercenary chick was doing, who helps you on occasion, who's got like a really cool spear. Yeah, there's a lot of like. I'm just gonna try to end the story. I don't, I'm just gonna put like just gonna have tunnel vision at this point, which is unfortunate, but I can just Google that stuff and find out what they're actually up to. But yeah, it was a good end. And if you played it, I know people still do. I found a Reddit on it when I was searching like boss fight tips. People still actively post about it. But yeah, if you've played it, what were your thoughts on that game? Like, did you enjoy it? Like, do you still reflect back on it? Like, I know I will play this again, and I might buy it on PC to play it again. Just because it's more comfortable. It really depends, but yeah. And if you haven't played it and you're looking for a solid RPG that you might be confused along the way, you might be using Google along the way, but solid combat, awful camera. I mean, what game doesn't have awful camera these days? But like awful camera in some instances, especially in dungeons where you're like in a tunnel or like a hallway near the end when you're stealthing. But if you haven't played it, I highly suggest picking it up. It's super cheap all the time, especially with Steam having like a bunch of Final Fantasy games now in their library. Thank you, Square Enix. Finally, wow. You will have an opportunity to pick it up for dirt cheap. But yeah, I loved it for what I played, right, which is up to the end, and I'm sure others will love it too. And yeah, that's it. That was my Final Fantasy experience, and it was a good one. It was a good one. I enjoyed it, and I will definitely play it again because I know I missed out on probably 60% of the game, which is my fault. But yeah, it was awesome. So, that's it. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Couch Cat Gaming Podcast. If you haven't, if you're new to the podcast or to the brand itself, check out our website, couchcatgaming.com, where we have tons of articles. Like I said, primarily on indie games, on PC gaming, but we do have console games on there too, if that's your thing. We have something for everyone, really. But go ahead and check it out. That's couchcatgaming.com, where we post. Now we've changed. We used to post, twice, 3 times a week, but now we're doing longer articles once a week, and it's, you can see the qualities there. But please go check us out. Leave a like. Follow the blog. It's on the WordPress platform. It's very easy to do. We have various we have various social media accounts, such as our Instagram at CouchCat Gaming and Twitter at CouchCat Gaming 1. Please, check those out. Give us a follow. Give us a like. And if you hear this podcast and you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and a comment / review on the platform you're listening to. It really helps us out. We appreciate it. We're a small family, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's just, group doing our thing. And we want to share our stories with you. But again, thank you for tuning in. My name's Ryan, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.